Hey everybody, Dave D here, and I have my special guest here,
Yes.
Mike the
Hello.
Jewel Stodola. I forgot, you can see that fancy graphic
That's
I
awesome.
have there. Welcome everybody to this live training event here. This is a micro training. Mike is a great friend of mine, and he is absolutely a marketing genius. He's the chief marketing officer for Robin Robbins Company, Technology Marketing Toolkit. Mike, thanks for joining me in all seriousness here today.
It's great to be here.
So Mike and I, as some of you might have known, worked for GKIC, the company founded by Dan Kennedy many years ago, when we were on camera a lot. And now, unfortunately for Mike, he's not on camera with me.
Yes.
So
sad day.
Yeah, but today what we're going to talk about is something that's really important, which is how a quote real business runs their marketing funnels and their conversion process. And I think what's interesting is many people would consider Robin Robbins to have an advanced info business.
Sure.
However, what she's done is she's taken principles and all of the strategies from top businesses, multi or billion-dollar businesses, and integrated it in. So the one thing is, when Mike is describing what they do and how they convert and everything like that, don't dismiss it because you say I'm a lawyer or I'm a chiropractor or I'm a financial advisor, or my favorite phrase, butcher, baker, or candlestick maker. Yeah. Because all of the strategies really come from, quote, real businesses. And Robin has a real business. It's multi-million dollar a year business. And this is the guy that runs the marketing for it. So Mike, let's start out with how you guys are generating leads, because that's the question everybody always asks. And what's the one big thing you do? Why don't you talk about that?
Well, Dave, just not to belabor the point that it doesn't just work for info businesses. What we do is the exact thing we teach our clients to do. And our clients are in the service business. They sell IT services.
Right.
So they're selling anywhere from $5,000 to $150,000 packages and contracts. And so they do the exact same thing we do. So it absolutely works outside of the info marketing world, because they're all doing that. And our most successful people, I mean, they're running 5, 10, even up to, we have one member who's got a $50 million business doing the same exact things that we do. So generating leads. Yeah. And there's really two types of lead generation. Most people focus on one, which I'll call kind of cold lead generation. That's getting new people that aren't in your CRM, your customer relationship manager, whatever you use, from a Rolodex on up to hopefully something a little bit more advanced than that, to get them into your world in the first place. Second one is what I'll call warm lead generation or internal lead generation. And so we do 3 different things. If I had to talk about our bread and butter of what we do with that. So the first thing is we do direct mail. We do direct mail every single week, and we teach our members to it as well. Now we're doing 500 to 1,000 pieces of direct mail a week. We tell our members start with 10 pieces. So just the 10 people a week. And that's followed up with phone calls, emails, LinkedIn requests, Facebook ads, Google retargeting, all of that. And what that is the mail is really just a way to give us something to follow up with. So it's, hey, Dave, did you get my red envelope? That was such and such. And it starts that conversation.
Okay. So so you're using direct mail, you're choosing, and you're mailing to a cold list.
Correct.
Okay. And now, is it the same list every week?
No.
Or are you segmenting?
Great question. So no, it's different lists, and we will repeat the same campaign every 6 months. So if you get it this month, 6 months from now, if you don't convert, you'll get it again. But we break our list up into, what is that, about 26 weeks?
Okay.
And send to 1/26th each week.
Okay.
So great question.
So that's fantastic. And so I really like what you just said. I don't want folks to miss it, which is you run the campaign again after 6 months to the same list because it works. So once you have a campaign that works, you just keep running it. And again, you don't have to start off with 500 to 1,000. Yeah. You can start off with like 10, right? 10 to get going. So then you follow up with a phone call.
Yep. So we have, we call them appointment setters, and their whole job is to line up appointments. We don't sell directly over the phone with our appointment setters. They set up an hour-long consultation with one of our salespeople. So they'll follow up 3 to 5 times with them, depending on if they get people live, voicemail, all that, but a minimum of 3 times. And we're actually moving towards 5 times because we've seen the conversion rate go way up from that 3 times. So yeah, we do the direct mail, follow up 3 to 5 times with phone calls. We also retarget them on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Display Network.
Okay, so the same people who you are mailing to, they're getting phone calls.
Yep.
But then those same people are being retargeted on Facebook, right?
Yep.
And Google Network, and then you said something about LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn sponsored in-mail.
Okay.
That's a whole thing in and of itself. It's not an ad, but it's our best converting thing that we have for the lowest cost.
Okay.
So really cool.
Now, again, you're selling business to business. So someone who's not selling business to business, though, can use that same direct mail strategy, maybe not with the telephone follow-up, or maybe even with the telephone follow-up.
Yeah, we teach our people with the telephone follow-up. So our people sell directly to the end buyer.
Okay.
So, yep.
Okay. So, and you're sending something unique in the mail. I just want, because that's important. So there's something to follow. Can you just talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, so one of our campaigns, and instead of talking about what we send, I'll actually tell about what our number one mailer for our clients is.
Okay.
And it's one you're super familiar with. We call it the aspirin mailer.
Right.
So it's got aspirin at the top. I mean,
so it's a grabber mailing.
Yep, it's a grabber mailing. Absolutely. We've got another one we call the Closer Look campaign, and it's got cheap little magnifying glass in there. So they're grabber mailings. Absolutely. With that.
So for those of you who don't know what a grabber mailing is, and by the way, I did a great training, I think it was 2 years ago in the Inner Sanctum for my Inner Sanctum VIPs on different grabbers that you can use. This is where you attach something to the top of the letter, or you put something in with the letter, which grabs your reader's attention. And there's a nice tie-in. The first person I learned it from is Gary Halbert, right? And the basic format is, so for the aspirin letter, you might be wondering why I've attached aspirin packet to the top of this letter. Well, there are two reasons. One is to get your attention, and number two is thinking about IT giving you a headache. Now, that's not exactly what they say, but again,
it's pretty close. Yeah,
pretty close, right? And so now the person on the phone can call up and say, "Hey, did you get the aspirin that we sent you?"
Yep, exactly. And we send them in a red envelope. So it was in a red envelope. It's an oversized envelope. So again, really the mailer, we don't get that many. So we get about, and actually it's probably good, but we can discount it. We get about 2% of the people that we mail who actually go to our website, we'll call it opt-in off of just the mailer, 2 to 3%, which actually blows direct mail numbers away.
Right,
except that's
to
not
a cold
where,
list.
Yeah, it's to a cold list. But that's not where we get most of our people. Then it's through the phone call follow-up, and it's just giving them an excuse to say, "Hey, did you get my," whether it's a postcard, whether it's a mailer, grabber mailer, whatever. We've tried a bunch of different things. With the phone call follow-up, we just want a reason to call.
Okay. So by the way, if you guys have questions, feel free to enter them in. I think I opened up the Q&A. Let me check to see if I did that properly. Yeah, so the Q&A is open. That would be the best place for you to ask the questions if you're watching this live. If you're not watching this live, well, we won't be able to answer your questions. Okay, so I think that the really important thing here is the overall strategy, as opposed. So the tactics is, and I think it's brilliant, because what most people do is they'll send out direct mail and they'll go, "Oh, I got a shitty response, right? I didn't get a good response, so therefore direct mail isn't working." But direct mail is really the backbone of what you're doing, and it sets it up for everything else that's tied in. It's not just I sent out. So by the way, I made that same exact mistake that I'm saying that. So I sent out a bunch of postcards to previous subscribers to try to get them to resubscribe. And there was mega problems with it, but that's all I did. I'm like, "Oh man, that response sucked." Right. But I didn't do any of the other stuff that we talked about.
Right.
Or why not have Drew, who works in our company, call up all of those people and say, "Hey, did you get Dave's postcard? Hey, we've got this new special report for you."
So Dave, the phone calls are so vital that we tell our members. So I consult with a bunch of our members every week. They can call in. The number one thing I ask, if they say their mailer's not working, it always boils down to they're not doing the calls, or if they're doing the calls, they're not following the script, or if they're following the script, they're not doing the 3 calls. And it's those 3 things. And I can cut to the chase like 90% of the time by asking them when they say the mailer doesn't work, because 8 out of 10 of our members who are doing it, the mailer does work because they're following all the steps. The other 2 who say these mailers don't work, it's always one of those 3 reasons. They're not doing the phone calls, they're not following the script, or they're not doing the number. So I tell them, if you're not going to do the phone calls, they're so vital, don't even waste the time and money on step 1.
Wow. So again, that's so powerful. The other idea that just came to me is, let's say somebody is a financial advisor out there or an estate planning attorney or something like that who is watching this. The other strategy they could do is take their Dream 100 joint venture partners, right? And follow the same exact procedure, because they're always asking, well, how do I get other people to promote me? How do I get, so for example, the financial advisors, how can I get accountants to work with me? And so tax resolution specialists, how can I get this person? Or so couldn't they follow that same strategy, pick out 100 or 50 or 25, send something on a weekly basis and follow the same exact?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we use it across. We just did a big training on JVs, which is exactly what you're talking about. Almost all our campaigns, like I said, because it works, we're very formulaic. Don't want marketing pieces to be boring, but marketing done right can get kind of boring. We always want to innovate and do new things. We use this same exact campaign across just a bunch of different areas because it works so well.
Okay. So again, if you're wondering, well, how am I going to get somebody to promote my webinar? How am I going to get somebody to do a list swap with or something like this? This is a great strategy for doing it as well. And Mike, you said the key is the follow-up, though, is to keep doing it. So what a lot of people do, I think, is that they'll mail out one piece,
right,
and they'll do one phone call, and they'll say, well, this doesn't work.
Right. No, absolutely. So, and they're probably right at that point. So if you just do one piece and one phone call, you're probably not going to have a lot of success, because these things build on themselves. We get members all the time that say, I've gotten your piece for 3 years. I always thought it was silly or it wasn't the right time or whatever, but it's now been the 4th, 5th, 6th time. We actually do one with a dollar bill, like a real dollar bill at the top of it. And they said, I've probably bought 2 or 3 Starbucks from you. They always love to joke. And I'm like, that's great. You just bought a $5,000 program from us also. So I'm happy to buy you 3 more. Let's make that exchange all day. So yeah, we do that. Then there's other things that go on in the intervening month. So it's not like we just do it once and then do it 6 months later. Each month after that, we do a postcard to them. We do a little mailer to follow up with people, because it kind of builds on itself. Just because they don't call right then and there doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means they're not interested right at that minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone else is focusing on online funnels, right? I got to build my online funnel. I just got to build my online funnel, right? And that's a component of it, but that's not your key component of it, of the business.
So it's not, but I mentioned that there were 3 things. So online is another component. So one is our direct mail campaign. So we do that. And like I said, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 a week with that. 2 is an online funnel. So through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through Google Display Network. And I'll just talk about, this is really, this kind of crosses into 2 segments, because we'll target people that are already on our list, providing them new offer, report, webinar, something like that. And we'll target people who aren't on our list, but we've identified as prospects already. And that's one of the big things. We don't just go online and let Facebook figure out who the right people are. We spend a lot of time ahead of time going through business by business in the states or the areas we want to do, add them to our list, and then just target them with Facebook. So we're not letting Facebook go out and find, hey, this might be a good company for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So explain that again, because I don't think a lot of people are doing that. In fact, everyone who asks me, and I tell them I'm not a Facebook expert, but I know enough to be dangerous, is most people are letting Facebook, because that's what everyone teaches. Let Facebook find your clients for you. But sometimes that's really, really hard.
Yeah, because I mean, especially with Facebook, because they're not like a LinkedIn or something where they have a bunch of professional information about you. So a lot of people like to go in, and with Facebook, it lets you choose like targeting options, like, oh, this person likes sales, or this person has this amount of money or whatever, and they think it's the right match for them. They even let you do lookalike audiences and all of that, which is fine and can work. Our cost per lead on those, so we do those time to time because we're continuously testing, is like a minimum of 3 to 5 times as much per lead, because we'll get people in that are absolutely wrong. We get real estate agents, we get financial planners, we get all these other people, we get the butchers, bakers, candlestick makers. For some reason, we get a lot of hair salons that opt in, even though our report says for IT services businesses. I still don't get this, but Anyhow, we get a lot of those. So it costs us more and we got to weed a bunch of them out because it's hitting the wrong people. So what we do, say we were going after IT companies in the Atlanta area, close to where we are now, we actually pay a person to type into Google, like IT companies, Atlanta. Google has those ads right now. It's like pet shop near me.
Right.
And so we'll do that. And then we'll put all those that we find in our database and then just target them on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube.
Because you know that those are the right people for you.
Yep. So we're not just doing the shotgun approach, hoping that something hits. We're loading it up with all the right targets. And then we just got to hit the right target at the right time. It's already hard enough to do that. Yeah. I don't want to be going after a bunch of wrong targets.
So you guys, that's just pure gold. What he just gave you right here on this micro training. We got to come up with a better name than Micro Training Friday.
That's a stay up all night.
I stayed up all night on this one. So again, we've got a question in from Sean. Sean, we'll get to your question at the end. If anyone else has questions, enter them in. Comments, enter them in. We'd love to hear from you. But that tip, everyone could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And we teach to do that. Everyone wants to build their leads list. We talk about the first step is building your prospect list.
So explain the difference.
Yeah. So a lead is once someone's raised their hand and said, I'm interested, whether it's networking, whether they've responded to some piece of marketing, whether they've opted in on a form, whatever it is, they've identified themselves as being interested in at least communicating with you and receiving communications. A prospect is someone that we find that we think would be a qualified buyer, but they've shown no interest yet in doing business with us. So if you're a financial planner and I'm going after people with a portfolio of at least $1 million, I want to know, I got to do my research and figure out who are the most likely people. Maybe you pick big houses or there's lists for net worth and all that kind of thing. JV with an accountant, they know what the people are worth, and load those in as a prospect and only market to those people instead of just picking, like a lot of financial planners, they'll pick zip codes that are nice, nice homes, nice areas like this, but you really don't know what those people have. So they'll send out 1,000 mailers and maybe only 20% are even the right people. I'd rather just send to that 20%. You save a ton of time and money, especially when we do 3 to 5 calls as follow-up.
Yeah, it's just brilliant. And honestly, it seems like it's not easier, but no, easier. So some of the stuff that's out there that's for Facebook training for the small business owner, right, is you've got to do all of these videos and then you got to put them into these groups and then you got to retarget those groups. Right. And then if the person watches your video for this long, you kind of, with that strategy, you're kind of bypassing all of that because you know that these people who you're targeting are your perfect people right from the very beginning.
Right. Absolutely. And honestly, though, I mean, I'm sure all those strategies work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's just way too complicated for me. So we're simple. We want to know we're going after the right people.
Right. So, but it's just man, we should do an entire training on this because it's such an interesting take on this. Because number one, I think it's easier, but number two, regardless of whether it's easier, you're hand picking who you're going to show your marketing to.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's really what it is. Because, I mean, we've all done this. I mean, direct mail is expensive to do. However, it provides an incredible ROI when you know you're only going after the right people. So the problem is with direct mail, people are usually pickier about who they send to, but then they go to Facebook because it's quote unquote easy. And they say, hey, I'm just going to go after the world or everybody in here. Still, most of your marketing's hitting the wrong people. Why do that? You can just go after those exact people you want to become a lead or become a client. So
So this is like the counterintuitive Facebook strategy. For the folks that just came on, if you missed what Mike has just said, welcome, first of all. If you missed what Mike has said, there will be, we are recording this. Okay. So Sean's got another question. Sean's the only one asking questions, but Sean will answer. Sean will answer your questions, my man. We'll answer your questions for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the how you're getting the cold leads. Okay, because everyone's interested in that. Although this strategy is mind-blowingly great, the one you just gave. So you guys are you doing the traditional approach where they come to an opt-in page and they're requesting a free report? What's happening there?
Yeah. For online, absolutely. Even our mailers, a lot of them. So we've got a couple reports right now, but one This is the thing, like once you find one, and that's probably like everyone talks about people having superpowers. So for you, for example, and you don't even know this, I used a sales letter template that years ago when Dave and I worked together, I took one of his sales letters, I deconstructed it, and made it into a quote unquote template. And we used that to sell, I'll say hundreds of thousands, but it's probably 7 figures. Then used it at another business that definitely, it's the only sales letter we ever did for that business, definitely generated 7 figures. But just used that this morning, took about 2 hours, used that, just sent it out about 15 minutes before coming in, right before we were in. Had 2 sales already off of using that. So it's brilliant. That's your superpower. You are awesome at converting really leads into sales, whether it's via webinar, sales letter, one to many, really is what I'll say. But mine is really finding the hook, the one thing that you get. And sometimes you got to try a lot of hooks, but a lot of times it's just a gut feeling. It's not something. So for instance, Robin did a webinar about 2 years ago now, and it was just to a free list to a JV partner, actually. And it was 6 ways to get more leads, appointments, and sales for your MSP without spending a dime on marketing. And it converted like crazy into consultations. So I got it transcribed, turned it into a report. And so we released the audio, and that's been working for almost 2 years. And you could do this with a lot of different types of businesses here. Just that formula, 6 ways to do X, Y, and Z without something they don't like. So without spending a dime on marketing.
It's actually the headline of how to increase your sales without spending another penny on marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and so there's a formula for everybody. Sean is like blowing up the questions here.
For him.
Hey, for you other guys that are watching, enter some questions in so Sean doesn't dominate this thing. It's like Sean's getting private consulting, which is okay, man. Hey, if he's the only one entering. Sean's a financial advisor, by the way, and an Inner Sanctum VIP.
Awesome.
So you're, but then you're following the same process. So once they get the, talk about that process, how it all feeds in. So the way I'm thinking about it in my mind, we like to keep these around 20 minutes.
Okay.
So these micro trainings, but if you want Mike to come back, put that into the chat. If you don't put that in because he'll feel really bad. He's got he's
low self-esteem.
Very low self-esteem, right? So it seems like you've got your core conversion process, which is the phone calls, right? It starts with direct mail, or it could start with a report, but then you've got your core conversion process afterwards.
Yep.
Is that right?
You're absolutely right. So if you go online and find us and opt in for that report, what's going to happen then is you're immediately going to go into our 3 to 5 call system. We're actually going to send you whatever mailer.
So you're requesting that you're getting the phone number, right?
So we do a 2-step. So the first one, we do first name, last name, and email. And I've tested a bunch of different times. I would love it if in one step you'd give me all the information I want. We're not finding that work. So I do first name, last name, and email. And that's to get a free download of the report and instant access to the audio. Step 2, what I say is, if you give me your phone number and address, we'll mail you a hard copy of the report.
It's so important that we'll mail you the hard copy.
Yeah. And so right around 27 to 29%.
Yeah, we found in another business, the financial advisors business that I'm a partner in, it's 32%.
Okay, so right around a quarter to a third of people will give you that extra information. Now, there's a ton of tools out there where even if you just give me your name and email, I can go in and find the information about you and everything. So, but yeah, so it's a 2-step, and then it takes them to a thank you page, of course. And right on that, we do try and sell them into, because we do almost all of our sales through a 1-hour consultation. And real typical in a service industry. I mean, I was in real estate. I sold 100% of my people on sitting at a kitchen table at night or weekend and selling via consultation. So anyways, so we try and do that right there, schedule a consultation. But right away, then they're going to get whatever mailer that we're sending out, not just the report, but they're going to go right into our lead generation funnel, because we want to hit them while they're hot. They're going to get the calls right away with that. So 3 to 5, they start going into our Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, Google retargeting, everything like that. So again, just like you said, it all funnels to the same place. Once they raise their hand and say they want something, we're all over that, because the time's now to really get them.
Okay. So in this micro training, Mike has revealed the exact system that this, I can't give out the number, but
so over 20 million, I can give it out. She does interviews.
Over $20 million a year business. Okay. which actually it grew during this time. The things that are going on, but he's giving you out the entire process. But more important than the process, I think, Mike, is the strategy behind everything you talked about. And the one technique about Facebook, everyone should be jumping for joy. And if you miss that, you'll be jumping for joy when you rewatch this. Okay, so let's get to Sean's questions here.
Okay.
And let's see. When you send out grabbers in the mail, do you have to use special envelopes depending on what it is that you're mailing? So I think he's asking, like, if you're sending the aspirin mailing, so that the mailing doesn't, so the aspirins don't get crushed or something like that. Do you send it out in a separate? No.
The only time we send out separate envelopes is if we want to be able to describe the envelope.
Okay, fantastic. Next question from Sean.
Okay, Sean.
Okay. When you're sending out the 26-week campaign, when a lead converts during that campaign, does a converted lead receive the rest of the mailings? No, I can already answer that one.
And just so he knows, the 26-week campaign, we just start the campaign over after 26 weeks. So they're not getting mailings for 26 weeks from us. I just want to make sure you know that, Sean. We're not that complicated. You'll get the one mailing, and then 26 weeks later, if you haven't converted, you get that mailing again.
Right. So there's a series of mailings.
Yeah, but it's really one mailing in that 26 weeks, and then we just have like a postcard that goes out to everyone after.
Okay, so it's one grabber mailing, and then, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
And then Sean says here, expensive compared to what? A 10,000 direct mail piece and a dinner for a dinner seminar. Oh yeah,
I think it's because I said direct mail is expensive. And so one of our best pieces costs us $5.69 each. I mean, and that includes the dollar bill in it and everything like that. So sending out to 1,000 people a week, you can do the math. It's about $6,000 a week.
So Sean's used to doing dinner seminars, so right, and that kind of thing, and paying for the dinner and doing the mailing on top of it. So I mean, everything is relative, and you don't have to start, as you said, with that.
Start with 10.
Yeah, start with 10. You definitely do not have to start with that. So let me see. If anyone else has a question, we're a little bit over. We're at 1 minute and 37 seconds over, but I think that's okay. So Mike, so if you've got a question, enter it in. Mike, I want to thank you so much. I mean, for laying this just unbelievable stuff.
Just before we stop here, I mentioned there were 3, and I know we're already over.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
The last one's real quick, in case anyone has questions, is the last thing that works incredibly well is what I'll call the internal lead generation. And that's just mailing and emailing and doing all the things you teach, your daily email to your current list. But one of the big pieces, Dave, that has just exploded our consults, because we've done this for years doing the emails, is everybody who actually clicks on an email, like to our blog, to our video, whatever, we follow up with a phone call up to once every 45 days to those people. We find a 5 to 7 times, so 500 to 700% increase in response rate when we try and book them to a consult.
Wow.
So they're on a list for years. We just drive to consult, drive to webinars, hope that we sell on there. Now, if you click over to our blog today, Monday, you're getting a call from our main man, Eric, and he's giving you a call. Hey, Dave, I saw you clicked on the blog X, Y, and Z. It looks like you need help with this. Would you like to schedule a consult? 500 to 700% increase in consults over our cold list. So that's just been going bonkers.
Wow, fantastic. Thanks, Mike. That was awesome. All righty, everybody. So if you are not a Dave D Inner Sanctum VIP, you're missing out on so much. You get a in-depth masterclass every single month on a topic of marketing and sales related to grow your profits and grow your business. Then you also get live coaching with me. Did I tell you I added that? I added live coach. So there's a virtual mastermind group.
Is that this or a different?
No. This is just
this is the micro training.
This is the micro training. So then there's I do a virtual mastermind meeting once a month with my Inner Sanctum VIPs. Then we've got the Inner Game of Success training, which is all about what goes on here, which is one of the keys. In addition, and additional things, if you're interested, go check it out at daved.com/.